Good day, grade 4s, and welcome to Natural Science, week 7. My name is Mrs. de Klerk, and I will be your teacher. Right, I want us to start off quickly by just looking at what we did yesterday. Okay, we talked about different kinds of living things. We looked at the 7 life processes. I wonder if you can remember all 7. We looked at movement, reproducing, sensing, feeding, breathing, and excreting. Now remember that, just let me see. Sorry, and growing, the last one. Remember we said that if something is classified as living, it needs to be able to do all 7 of these things, okay? Today, I am going to introduce you to Mrs. B. Fig. Mrs. Beatrice Fig. Mrs. B. Fig. This is what she looks like. Now, Mrs. B. Fig is there to help you guys to remember what the 7 life processes are. Okay, so you will see for every letter of Mrs. B. Fig, it's one of the 7 life processes. So let's see who can remember. The first one, let's switch on the chat box quickly. The first one was movement. Who can remember what the next one is? Movement. What does the R stand for? If we look at the 7 life processes. Can you type in your chat box for me? What is the R for? Reproducing. Good job. The S? The S for Mrs. What is the S for? Can you type in your chat box for me? Sensing. Good. B. What does the B stand for? What am I doing that should give you a clue? Breathing. Good job. Okay, what does the F stand for? The F is for, good, for feeding. The E, what does the E stand for? Who can remember? I'm going to give you a little clue, X. It starts with the X, and it's to remove waste from your body. There we go, excreting. Good job, well done, yeah? Good, all of you. Zinzi, Cherise, Unati, and the last one is growing. So here's a little acronym for you guys to remember the 7 life processes. Mrs. B. Fig. So you'll remember her face, and then if you get this in a test or an exam, you can remember the acronym, and then you will probably remember what the 7 life processes are as well. Okay, that was just a little recap on yesterday. We're going to have a peek at what we are going to do today. Okay, I know some teachers will call it Mrs. Green because they look at different wordings for it. That's why it's changing. So I'm using the words that we used yesterday. That's why Mrs. B, that's why I use the B. Okay, so it will be the same. It doesn't matter which word you use. An activity on the 7 life processes, we'll do this activity together. And we will look at things that seem to be non-living, but that are not. We are going to look at what the meaning of dormant state. When is something in a dormant state? And what does that mean? We are going to look at the meaning of germinate. What does germinate mean? And then we are going to look at the conditions of a seed to germinate. What will happen? What needs to be done before a seed can germinate? Okay. start with our first activity. Some of you might recognize this. This is in the Thunderbolt textbook. Okay, we are going to look carefully at each photo. There are quite a few. And then next to each of the 7 life processes, we're going to make a tick if it applies to the object in the photo. If a life process does not apply to the object in the photo, we are going to make an X next to that life processes. We are going to decide whether the object is living or if it's non-living, and then write the answer in the last column. And this one is done for you just so that you can see what we're going to do. So in this picture, we are looking at children, and we have to say, are they moving? Yes. Can they move? Yes. Can they reproduce? Yes, they can. Can they sense? Will they put on a jacket when they feel it is cold outside? Yes, they can. Do they need to eat? Do we need to feed them? For sure. Do they need to breathe? Can they breathe? Yes, they can. Do they excrete? Do they get rid of waste products? Yes, they do. And can they grow? And do they grow? Yes, they do. So we will then say it is a living thing. Okay. So now we are going to do some examples. That's fine if you are late. Just join in and have fun. Okay. Luckily, you didn't miss too much. We are going to do the next activity together as a class. Okay. We are going to look at an airplane. Guys, can I ask that you just keep your video cameras off, okay? Okay, when it comes to an airplane, some of these answers will be yes and no, depending on how you reason or your motivation. So this one is a little bit different to the others. All right, let's see. Can an airplane move? Quickly write in your text box, yes or no. Nakwanda, good. Neil, good. Dylan, yes. Or, Joda, why do you say that an airplane cannot move? It can, right? Because it can fly, so that means it moves. Can it reproduce? Can one airplane make another little airplane? No, of course not. Can an airplane sense? Good, the answer is no. Can it feed? Quickly type in your text box. I would like to know what you guys say about that one. Does it need food? Now, this is the one I talked about where you guys can either answer yes or no, depending on your motivation. If we look at an airplane, it takes in fuel. And if you say that the fuel is the food or the feeding, then it will be yes. But you can also say no. It gives out exhaust gases. So there we can say it excretes. And it uses air for combustion. And if you want your motivation for your answer is that is breathing, then you can say yes. So with an airplane, I would accept a yes or a no. Okay, so feeding, I will say yes, because for me, feeding means it takes in fuel. I will say yes for the breathing, because it uses air for combustion. So to me, it will breathe. Excreting, it excretes exhaust gases. So for me, I will say yes, it excretes. Growing, it definitely cannot grow, unless you are watching an animated movie. Okay, so remember I said it has to tick all 7 boxes for it to be classified as a living thing. So this one, we will then classify as non-living because it doesn't tick all 7 boxes. Okay, are you guys ready to do the next one? I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and then you start typing on movement. Okay, so let's look at fish. Can fish move? 3, 2, 1, quickly type for me. Yes or no? Good. Well done. A fish can move. Can it reproduce? What do you guys say? 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, for sure. Can it sense? 3, 2, 1, go. I see a lot of yeses, and you are right. Can a fish feed? Does it need to eat? Absolutely. Can a fish breathe? Yes. It can excrete. Does it get rid of waste products? Yes, it does. And fish grow. Will a little fish become bigger? Will it grow up? Yes, absolutely. So we will classify fish as a living thing. The next one is a plant. Let's see if it ticks all 7 boxes. Can a plant move? Quickly write in your box for me. Absolutely. Remember yesterday we spoke that a plant either moves up to the air or it shoots down into the ground. So it moves, and even some plants will turn towards the sun like a sunflower. So it definitely moves. Can it reproduce? Yes, it can. From one plant, you can make another one, right? Remember yesterday I told you in the kitchen sometimes, even if your mom forgets a potato in the cupboard, it starts growing. Can it sense? Absolutely, yes. Remember yesterday we also spoke about some flowers that close during nighttime and it opens during daytime. That's also sensing. Does a flower need food? Does it eat? Good, you are right. Does a flower need to breathe? Remember what we said about yesterday, how people and plants work together. It definitely breathes. Does a flower excrete? Does a flower excrete? Yes, it does. It sweats, right? And then, can a plant grow? For sure. So this one ticks all the boxes. So then it is classified as a living thing. Okay, the next one is a very easy one. A bouncing soccer ball. Let's see how many boxes this one will tick. Can a ball move? It is rolling down the road. Yes, it can move. Can it reproduce? Can one ball make another little ball? I don't think so. Can it sense? No, not. Can it feed? Does it eat? No, it doesn't. Does a ball breathe? Absolutely not. Does it excrete? Does it get rid of waste materials? No. Good. And does it grow? Well, it does not unless you see it as putting air in it as growing, but no, a ball does not grow. So it only ticks one box. It doesn't tick all 7. So then we will classify it as a non-living thing. Okay, our next one, eggs. Now, this is a difficult one. I would actually love to know what you guys think. Are eggs a living thing or is it classified as a non-living thing? This one is one I want you to think about because we'll get back to it later. Okay. Good, Joda. Some things seem to be non-living, but they are not. This should give you a little bit of an idea if the egg is classified as living or non-living. Right. Now we are going to have a look at seeds. And I have a question. There's a picture for you of seeds. Are seeds living or are they non-living? You can quickly type your answer. What do you think? Is a seed classified as a living thing, or is it classified as a non-living thing? You don't know. Some of you say non-living, some of you say living, some of you say dormant. Ma'am, it needs the right conditions to grow. Absolutely. Let's look at the answer. Dun, dun, dun. The answer is they are alive. It is living. There you can see it grow. Okay, the reason why I am saying that it is classified as a living thing is because seeds are in a dormant state until they get air, water, sunlight, and soil to germinate and to grow. Now, one of you mentioned this in the chat box, so well done to you. You can give yourself a pat on the back there. Very good answer. Now, what does it mean if something is in a dormant state? Now, the best way to explain it or to think about it is dormant can mean it is sleeping. Okay. If it's in a dormant state, it is not dead or it is not alive. It is sleeping. That's how we can see it. So we can say that a seed will be sleeping until it gets the air, the water, the sunlight, and the soil that it needs to germinate and to grow. I just want to ask you another question. What does germinate mean? What does germinate mean? Because I said here that seeds are in a dormant state until they get air, water, sunlight, and soil to germinate and grow. Now, if you look at the bottom picture, yes, it means that the seed begins to grow. It begins to put out shoots after a period where it was sleeping. So in plain English, it's when the seed wakes up. When it gets air, water, sunlight, and soil, it wakes up from it, and it was in a dormant state before. It was sleeping before, and it starts to grow. So this seed starts to develop, and that is what germinate means. Okay. There are things that seem to be non-living, but they are not, like seeds. Something seems to be non-living for a very long time. So they're in a dormant state for a very long time. Okay, they need the right, need the right conditions to revive and to show the 7 life processes. Now, if we looked at the previous slide, what were the conditions there for the plant to start growing, to germinate? What was the conditions? There were 4 things that we mentioned. What does a seed need to start to germinate? We mentioned 4 things in the previous slide. Do you remember? Water, yes. Water was one. What were the others? Sunlight, good. More, there were 2 more things. Good, it needs soil, it needs water, sunlight, and air. Good. Oh, and I want to know if you can think of other examples. Now let's quickly see. I'm going to show you some pictures of more seeds that seem to be non-living. Who knows what this is? What type of seed is this? I guess it depends on where you live, because some of you that live in the Western Cape might know what this is. Does anyone know? If you know what this is, quickly type it in your chat box. If you don't know, then I'm happy, because then it means you will learn something new today. Dandelion. It looks like one, but no. This is fynbos. Now these fynbos seeds are in the Western Cape, and that's where I am. And this one stays in the soil for a very, very long time. It can even stay dormant for years. It's a very interesting seed. There's a lot of fynbos here in the Western Cape. It's an interesting seed because these specific fynbos seeds can only start growing after a fire has burnt their hard outer shells. The shell on the outside is very hard and it will stay dormant until a fire has burnt that hard outer shell. Oh, Dylan, you're in Cape Town. Good. Okay, so that is what this is, a fynbos seed, and it's dormant until a fire burned the hard outer shell. I thought that was a very interesting fact. Okay, now let's quickly look at sunflower seeds. That's another one. And then this one is seeds from a coral tree. And now why do seeds seem to be non-living? Why would you say that? Okay, the answer to that question, it seems to be non-living because you can't see it move or breathe or grow. To us, it seems like it doesn't do all the 7 processes, right? But we now have learned that it is indeed a living thing. But how can we show that they are living? Okay, if you give them the right conditions, then they will start to germinate. Yes, if you plant it, this is what will happen. To give the right conditions, that's right. If you give it sunlight and air and soil and everything it needs, that little sunflower seed will turn into a beautiful sunflower. And then the other seed that we looked at, this is its tree. It's the coral tree. So those seeds were obviously given water, sunlight, soil, and air. They germinated and they grew into a beautiful sunflower and a beautiful coral tree. Remember again that seeds are in a dormant state. What does that mean again? A sleeping state until they are given the right conditions, which are water, warmth, air, light, and soil to germinate and then to start growing. Beautiful, right? Okay, now it's your turn. I have some questions for you. When is something dormant? Do you remember what I said? Good, Lina, I love nature too. Do you remember what I said? When is something dormant? When it is still? Can you type the answer for me? When it is? You don't have to give a scientific answer. There we go, Zoe. That's what I was looking for. When is something dormant? We can just say that when it is sleeping. Yes, you are also right. Before it's given the right condition, when it is asleep. Good. So that's how we can remember what dormant means. Something is dormant when it is not dead, but it is waiting for the right condition for the life process to begin. So yes, it's absolutely right if you think about it, that it's just sleeping. That's a nice way of remembering it. Now the next question, when is a plant dormant? I want to know with this question, in which stage of the plant's life is it dormant? When it is a what? You can type your answer in the chat box. A plant is dormant. Is it dormant when it is already grown? Good, guys. Not a seedling, Zinzi, but a seed, because a seedling has already started to grow. Yes, you guys are right. It is dormant when it is a seed. It doesn't mean it is non-living. It just means it's asleep and it's waiting for the right conditions to start growing. Okay, what does a seed need to start growing? I think I just almost gave the answer there. Can you quickly, good, Charisse. The rest of you, can you quickly type that answer in your chat box so I can make sure and see that you understand? Let's see, water, sunlight, soil? Good. There you go. It needs water, warmth, air, light, and soil to start growing. Good job, clever class. Okay. Here is a little fact for you. Did you know that, let me just move this chat box. Here we're coming back to the egg again. Remember in the beginning I said we'll come back and look at eggs again. Now, did you know that first fertilized eggs need to be kept warm or they will not hatch? This is why a mother bird will start sitting on her eggs to keep them warm when she has laid all of them. Okay, so that already tells you something. It's sensing, right? They need to stay warm or they will not hatch. But we are speaking about fertilized eggs. Now we're back with the eggs. Remember when we talked about a seed that is dormant? Well, it's the same thing with eggs. These are chicken eggs and they have been fertilized. So remember, when we speak about the egg, we're not only speaking about the shell, we're speaking about the whole thing that's happening inside. Okay, so can it move? Does the inside of the egg, is there something that moves? What do you guys say now? Yes, you are right. Can it reproduce? When it grows up and when it's out of the egg, does it reproduce? Absolutely. Can it sense? Remember, it also needs warmth for it to hatch. So yes, it can. Does it feed? Does what's inside of the egg need nutrients to grow up and to hatch? Absolutely. Does it breathe? Yes, it does. Does it excrete? Does it get rid of waste products? For sure. And then does it grow? Absolutely yes, because if it doesn't grow, it won't be able to hatch and break the shell, right? So yes, it will be classified as a living thing because it ticks all 7 boxes. Well done, you guys. Okay, now we are going to look at if I can revive things that seem to be non-living. Okay, we are going to look at some photos carefully. I want you to listen to what I'm saying about them because I will give you, if you listen very carefully, all the answers to your homework. So this is almost like a little listening test. Okay, the first one we are going to look at is chicken eggs that are hatching. Okay, then we'll look at frog eggs about to hatch into tadpoles. The next one is shark eggs. Have you guys ever seen shark eggs? A lot of the times it washes up on the beach without the inside anymore, but the outer shell. And there's a lot. That's why it always scares me if I think my 9-year-old son, who is 8, he's almost 9, likes to swim too far into the ocean, and then I see all these shark eggs, and then I get very nervous. Okay. And then the fourth one we'll be looking at are snake eggs hatching. Let me just see what you guys wrote in the chat box before I explain. Okay. Yes, well, this shark egg is, now you can see the inside, the shark inside, but if you see the shell on the beach, it looks like it's a black, hardish type of, it looks like a seed. Maybe next time, oh, we can't go to the beach at the moment, but maybe I can show you a photo next time. And when you go to the beach next time, maybe you'll recognize it, because before I knew what it was, I thought it was just a seed. It's very interesting. Okay, now listen carefully to what I have to say, because this will be part of your homework. In farms, the farmers often do not let the mother chicken sit on their eggs. Instead, they put the egg in something called an incubator. And the reason for this is because an incubator provides warmth. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Farmers often don't let mother chickens sit on the fertilized eggs, on the eggs, sorry. Instead, they put the eggs in something called an incubator, because the incubator provides warmth. A snake normally lays her eggs in a nest because the heat of the sun provides the warmth to hatch the egg. Okay, so if you look at that bottom picture, the snake eggs hatching, usually a snake will lay the eggs in a nest because the heat of the sun provides the warmth to hatch the eggs. And that is the reason why they will lay it in a nest, is to get the warmth of the sun. Okay, tadpoles, this is a very interesting fact I'm going to tell you now. They can generally be found in pools and in ponds from spring to autumn. So they can be found in pools and ponds from spring to autumn. The eggs need warmth to hatch. Okay, so the adult animal lay their eggs in these seasons specifically, from spring to autumn, because the warmth of the sun will hatch the egg. So the same reason as the shark, not the shark, the snake. The snake will lay its eggs in a nest for the sun to warm them. And that is also the same reason why the tadpoles or the frog eggs can be found in pools from spring to autumn. It's because they find warmth from the sun then. And that will then hatch the eggs. I'm quickly going to see what you guys asked in the chat box. I found frog eggs in my pond. Ugh. Oh, Lena, you were reading a book on snakes. I've seen snake egg. Weren't you scared? Yes, the shark egg, if you look closer, you will definitely see the shark. You can see the shark inside that egg. But the ones that I was talking about that washes out on the beach is only the outer shell. So there's no more shark inside. But yes, if you look closely at this one, you will see the little shark. And that is so small, you can hold that egg in your hand, both of them. You can't believe that a shark could be that small, right? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat it one more time so that you guys know the answer. Oh, it seems like you guys are very interested in snakes, that you know the answer for these questions that I'm going to ask just now. Okay, remember in farms that farmers often do not let the mother chickens sit on their eggs. Instead, they put the eggs in something called an incubator, because an incubator provides warmth and then the eggs can hatch. A snake normally lays her eggs in a nest because the heat of the sun provides the warmth to hatch the egg. Tadpoles can generally be found in pools and ponds from spring to autumn. The eggs need warmth to hatch. The adult animal lays their eggs in this season because the warmth of the sun will hatch the eggs. Okay. Let's quickly recap. Oh, your brother has a snake. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm too scared. Some things do not seem to be living, but they are just dormant. Okay, remember we said like a seed. Seeds that are not planted are not dead. When they get what they need to grow, they will germinate and they will start to grow. They need the right conditions to revive and show the 7 life processes. Okay, what are the right conditions? Quickly type into your text box. What are the right conditions for a seed to revive and to start germinating? I know I've asked it before, but the more times you do this and the more times you answer this question, the better you'll remember it. Water, right? I need 3 more things. Soil, good. What else? Water and soil we have. Sunlight and warmth, air. Very, very good. Right, when we look at eggs, fertilized eggs need to be kept warm or they will not hatch. Okay. So this is your, and there in the photo you'll see a dove keeping her eggs warm to hatch them. The chicken eggs hatching that we were speaking about. The snake eggs hatching. The frog eggs about to hatch into tadpoles. Okay, and then you will have to answer these questions for me. Look at the pictures above and answer the following questions. This is from your Thunderbolt book. Study the photo of the bird sitting on her nest. Can you explain why she needs to sit on her eggs? I'm sure by now all of you guys would be able to answer this question 100%. Okay, let's look at question 2. In farms, the farmers often do not let the mother chicken sit on their eggs. Instead, they put the eggs in something called an incubator. What does the incubator provide to the eggs? That was number 2. Question number 3. A snake normally lays her eggs in a nest. Why does she not have to lie on top of them to hatch them? And then number 4. In what season can you normally find little tadpoles? And why? In what season? So you can even tell me from which month to which month, or you can just think those months. In which season is it? In what season can you normally find little tadpoles and why? Okay, that is going to be your homework. I'm going to give you my email address now, and then you can take a screenshot or a photo, and then you can send your answers to me on an email so I can check them for you. Tomorrow, we are going to look at reviving living things that seem to be non-living. So we will look at an example of something you can even try at home, germinating a seed. We are going to look at an experiment to get yeast to grow. You will look at non-living things, and we are going to look at things changing from living to non-living things. Okay. Oh, I did not put my email address in here. I'm so sorry about that, guys. This is the homework some of you asked. And then let's see if I can quickly, on the screen, type my email for you. Let's see here. Oh, no. I'm going to type my email address for you in the chat box. It's janica.dk.tw@gmail.com. You can quickly take a screenshot of my email. I will put it in the next slideshow that we do tomorrow. And some of you asked, what is the homework? This is the homework. You just need to answer these 4 questions. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. It was a fun lesson, and I hope to see all of you again tomorrow. Enjoy your day.